Hey, hi. Hold on. Hey, this is Carl DeGregorio, desk session 2. Not sure this is even gonna be a thing yet, but and I know I'm not maybe doing it right, putting 20 minutes out at a time. I don't think I got 20 minutes in me today. But I am trying to get stuff going and make progress since the last week. Um, So I've taken some feedback and on the one man show I'm working on. This is an attempt to keep myself on track, keep myself paced out, make sure that I'm not letting things die because of inertia, and trying to get some inertia to go in the right direction with motion. So um, I have received some feedback from a friend, a trusted friend, and have subtly implemented a few things. It's mostly cuts to shorten it because I want to go into this one man show, putting it on its feet. I want to go into it short because I did cut a lot. And I think you want to have room to add rather than a monstrosity that has things that are hard to get rid of. And because I've written it modularly and sort of out of order, and I think there is room to enhance, to elaborate, to go deeper once we're rehearsing. And if I can find a director to sort of understand that this is part of the process of development. The big snafu that sort of came up this week was I had heard from a friend from a distance via text, long time, a guy I really like, respect, my buddy Jamie, very creative guy, and he just checking in. How am I doing? What am I up to? And I told him, yeah, I'm trying to put it out there so that people either stop asking because they think it ain't gonna happen, or they start asking and wondering when it's gonna happen. And I kind of got to live up to it. It's kind of how I did my play in New York. I was writing most of it at home, but then on slow nights in my bar jobs, I was writing out scenes on napkins or on the flyers for the bar or scrap paper. And it got to the point where I was so diligently speaking about my play. I did readings of it. And eventually it just got to the point where it's like put up or shut up. So I guess that's what I'm trying to do with this. So when my friend reached out via text, I said, hey, hope you're doing well. He says, what are you up to? I said, I just finished a draft of a one man show. He said, I like it. It's putting it all in your hands, not waiting around. 100%. I agreed. And then I laid on him my title, which as of working title, it's been Carl D's Last Shot. He said, it's funny, but it's a little bit of a bummer. And, or I guess what I've interpreted that as is it's a bit of a, externalization of a negative thought that this would be my last shot. And it would be great to have been on Vanity Fair before I turned 30, but that didn't occur. But that doesn't mean you drop dead. So I understand what he's saying. So don't make it your last shot. There's still plenty of shots left. But I was also saying that thematically that worked. And so now I am in the process of tinkering with titles, which I talked about last week. And he suggested Chat GPT, and I almost shit myself in panic because that is nothing I want to go near. But he generated a few based on a couple of prompts I gave him in my text about what my story was about, broad stroke. He came back with some titles that AI spit out, and they were very generic and sort of they sounded corporatey to me. But one of them was actually something about the Drama King, which was the title of my memoir. And I'm resistant, but I'm also open, and not really open, but I I did take in the idea that maybe I could expand, or the fun part, like I mentioned last week or in the last sesh, was that the titling is fun. It's just easier for me to work on something with a title when you're an established artist like an Aaron Sorkin or a David Mamet or a if you have that kind of name, or David E. Kelly, if you're one of these dudes who's like, when I've even had auditions for things that were labeled untitled, uh, something so and so's untitled so and so project, like they can go to the brand name there is the showrunner or the director or the writer. So I'm not a brand name. I don't say that in low self esteem. I just know that for me, when I'm writing on spec or doing stuff indie, that as a flag on your ship, that you're sailing the seas on this voyage, this odyssey that trying to create is, I like to fly with a flag being my title. And so far, my title's been Last Shot. And now I'm open to and excited about rather than freaking out about it. And I have all the fucking autonomy to keep it. It's just an opinion. But I am messing around with it. And I don't know if you can see. This is just me not using Chat GPT, but man, that's yeah, that's several pages of terrible chapters, terrible, terrible titles, I should say. That's just a few. And there's also memos on my phone when I'm out and about when a title pops into my head. And so some of the leaders are some of the leaders so far are well, there's one that I don't think applies to this show, but one that I've loved, and I was almost going to call my memoir this, but I was going to call it The Bergen County Brooder. But I think it's funny. I know that I've been accused of being a brooder, or someone who likes to brood, but I think it's an antiquated word, so it might have gone over the heads. And Bergen County would be real specific to where I'm from and might be about that, and it is and it isn't. But I don't know, something about the word county, which I guess everybody lives in a county in America, but or a district or a parish, but it's something about it sounded country to me, and I kind of perpetrate that I'm not a country type dude, that I'm more of an urban dude. So, but anyway, the Bergen County Brooder is a funny one. Do I this one I like, but it's more of straight comedy. Do these pants make me look marketable? Do these pants make me look marketable? I guess if I can't get it out on this, it might be a hint that it's not a great title. Uh, Attention, please. These are randoms. These aren't even in the contention. Attention, please. The V-neck Chronicles. I'm wearing a V-neck today, and I've had a hashtag on my Instagram for years. I've been the victim of not reading labels, and I've gotten home from department stores with packs of V-necks instead of crew necks. And I don't know why V-necks cracks me up. I always think of V-necks as being a little Guido-y. My dad used to rock V-necks because it would keep, I think it keeps the tie line. It keeps the idea that maybe the crew neck would pop above the dress shirt. I don't know why the V-neck. I think maybe so you got a little Guido thing if you keep the button up top. It's a choice. And so I've been calling things the V-neck Chronicles on my Instagram. And that might be a really good generic, not genetic, but genetic if I'm wearing a V-neck like my dad, but a generic way to describe something with the Chronicles. That's always been a titling trope. But the V-neck Chronicles is funny. Not funny, but something I'm messing with. I don't want to give away a lot of them because some of them would work for other things. And the funny thing about most titles is that you can't. I think you can obviously, pardon me, you can obviously copyright words in sequence, I intellectual property, but I think titles, there are a million titles that are, I'm sure there's more than one Point Blank. I'm sure there's more than one spy game of spies. Like, eventually you do kind of run out of things that are pertinent to your story. I could call it the amoeba game if it had anything to do with my story. And maybe there's not another amoeba game, but I can't make myself sick trying to come up with originality, and also trying to let you know that it's. I guess the idea is, with this one man show I've mentioned, is that it's funny, but also deals with loss. Let's just say, and that that notion of it being happy and sad um, is what I want to convey in the title. Um, I like this one, and it never goes out, which would be a real Gen X reference and sort of homage to the Smith song, which then gives it a whole demographic that I don't necessarily fit into, but um, there is a light and it never goes out. Great song by the Smiths. If you like mopey emo alt Brit rock, which I do and did, but just clipping the second half of it, and it never goes out. I also the idea with Last Shot, and the I wanted the title hopefully to be an invocation. Now I think it's different when you're doing a performance that you would title things differently than maybe a book. I think you can go a little dour with a book, because you're limited to an audience of readers, and people who are already into books aren't usually going to be turned off too much by a little bit of a downer, or not a downer, but the idea that there might be serious stuff between the cover of a book. With a play, with a piece of theater, and these are matters of taste, and I'm finally at this age learning that that's all things really come down to in many cases, is matters of taste. For my matter of taste, uh, I want to have the title be an invitation, one, an invocation, two, and sort of a call to action if possible. So I'm looking for something with verbs, phrases, or um, something that just sort of is a stamp of a little bit of the thesis, if you can get it in the title. And that's why it's fun. That's why it's been a week. That's why I'm probably 700 titles into it. I'm also writing down some of the worst ideas. Uh, does this do these pants make me look marketable? Might even be one of those ideas that no bad ideas in the brainstorming process, but it cracks me up, and that might be something for some other day. Um, and so I have stumbled on a title. I am reticent to share it because what happened is, um, there's a line in the show, not quite a revelation because it's a one-man show, but there's a line in the show that sort of summarizes a bit of how I feel about what I've been doing with my life and what I endeavor to do. And uh, so the line comes out in the natural flow of writing, and I'm happy with it. And it popped into my head, hey, maybe that's the title, which is either hokey or really hammers it home if you can deliver it and put it all together right, where you hear the word uttered in in the title, in the story. An example would be "You Can Count on Me." Lonergan, great story. He's a great writer. He's that was his big breakthrough on film. He's got plays. He's a writer's writer, and that's where Mark Ruffalo got his start. But in that title, I didn't know it at the time. I rented it. I hadn't seen it when it came out. I rented it, and you're watching the movie, and it seems to be this domestic, brother sister thing, kind of heavy. He's the fuck up, all this stuff. And I hope this isn't a spoiler. It's not that kind of movie, but the actor says, I'm going to be there for you, or something to the effect, and you can always count on me. You know that. And so that being the title, and it being uttered, and it being a spine line, if you will, the spine of the story, um, that is exciting to me. So I thought I had that. And my second step in many of these things is sometimes I have a bunch of domain names. I purchase domain names to head things off at the pass to make sure I have my name. I couldn't get my book, which was the Drama King, because that's kind of generic. And so the dramaking.com wasn't available. I have .net, but who wants that? So anytime I get a flash of light that I think this might be an original notion, I I run to GoDaddy and I put it in and I see if it's available. And then that usually gets me excited that, oh shit, it's available. I'll buy it for a year on a flyer, $20. And, and that made me think kind of erroneously that it was original. And like I said, I'm holding back on the title itself because a Google search would have told me that it had a prominent similar title out there in the world. Prominent. But again, in our world, not a lot of people read. A lot of people's memories are short. If this is the title I want to work, um, I think I can live with it. Like I said, there are probably a lot of titles. Uh, King so and so, the King of, the King of Queens, the King of Staten Island. These are derivative of each other, or the idea that that's how they have to title it. But so mine can exist and coexist with this other one. It's just whether or not I really think it's the true title for it. And it's it's kind of the fun stuff, and it's a little preachy, some of the stuff I'm going for. And I've shared it with, when you're just sharing titles out loud and people haven't read it, haven't seen it, it's always going to be your decision. It's always going to have to work for you, but it should also kind of come in conjunction with, once I start workshopping it, if you start workshopping the title along with the show, um, some of, for example, I told a buddy about my new title currently, and he likes Last Shot, uh, but he doesn't know what it's about other than what I've told him. And so he likes Last Shot. I told him the new one, and he's like, "Wow, it sounds like it's a little preachy, a little gospely." And I laughed and I said, "Yeah, well, I'm kind of going for a Joel Osteen thing with this show, which I'm not." Which um, we were joking, but his reticence to the title being preachy or evangelical in a way is a hint that that's what's going to come across. But also, if that's where I want to go with it, then it does work, because it's provocative enough for him to have a reaction of that. Sounds like a little preachy, but I am trying to be not preachy, but it is, I think, a one-man show. Aside from whatever historically they've been, it is um, it is a sermon of me, a sermon of where I am at when I wrote this. This is hopefully the trajectory and the action of trying to transmit this. And if that's not kind of an elevated thing, then what are we doing? So it's interesting that the pushback on the new title and the preference to the old title, it's starting to make me coalesce my thoughts. And then also, without sharing the title, and I do still want to work with my do these pants make me look marketable. um, I do want to, you if you're writing to theme, then you have to, then if the title is going to lead you that way, or the title pushes you in a new direction, or the title doesn't deliver on its promise, or if it's just a title for a title, um, that's why albums are titled usually with the big song on it. Many times, Born to Run, perfect example. That's the song, that's the first single, but that is the ethos of the record. Thunder Road, you're running on Thunder Road. Jungle Land, you're born to run, you're going to wind up in Jungle Land. Like all those titles, the cohesiveness of that album, you kind of don't have that option with a one-man show. So the Bergen County Brooder, the V-Neck Chronicles, do these pants make me look marketable, and the Last Shot, Carl D's Last Shot. Those are what are up in the air. And there are some brutal ones in this one, but I'll keep some of them to myself just in case somebody else might get there. Um, Sounds like a plan. That's a good one. um, Tore up from the floor up. That's a good one. None of the, but see, then again, you also have the creeping in of low self-esteem, or the creeping in of self-deprecating. And in my writing process, I took a lot of that out as a process of feeling that way, being aspirational to myself, and to no longer, falling down on those uh, feelings, or falling into those feelings. So this is basically week 2 of this experiment of the desk sessions, and who knows if I'm making any sense, and who knows if I'm pretty sure no one's watching anyway, so that's a liberating feeling. But this is helping me talk out loud, work on my process, and we're working on a title. But I do know the Desk Sessions is the title of this vlog or this solo pod or whatever the hell it is. And I'm probably going to have to start doing some editing or putting out 3-second clips or 3-minute clips. But I'm not really that quippy and soundbitey right now. So this is where it's at. Thanks again. I am Carl DeGregorio. If your eyeballs find your way here, thanks. And peace till the next time.